Hey there, Cancer. Welcome to your reading for the week of October 27th. You have this bring love into the situation, and also this card that says work through your fears. Yeah, I think that it could be a good week to work through fears. It is an interesting week. Technically, we start the Mercury shadow on the 21st. I'm recording this on the 20th, so this video will be published the day that we enter into the shadow period for Mercury, going retrograde in November. And, so there could be some things that pop up that you have to face or, kind of overcome in a lot of ways. And, yeah, it's kind of weird. Pisces, I've only done you and Pisces so far, and Pisces had something very similar about fears in their first row. Not exactly the same, but I don't know. It's one of those things that I didn't really expect going into this week, but, there could be some fears popping up that aren't real or that you have to work through just in general. You start with the Wheel of Fortune, the Three of Swords, and the Emperor. The Wheel of Fortune can be a round situation. Now, the Wheel of Fortune is, we do consider it a good card, but you have the Three of Swords, which can be a heartbreak. You have the Emperor and the Empress, so obviously if you want love, this could be a love situation. Maybe you're afraid of getting heartbroken again or having fear, something come up again. This could also be anything, because the Emperor and the Empress can come up when we're working on something, and it says we are approaching something with balanced energy. The masculine and the feminine are balanced in our approach, which is good. But with the Wheel of Fortune and Three of Swords, you might think that you're out of balance when actually you are in balance. So I kind of feel this is saying, depending on your situation, it's saying don't trick yourself out of something good here, Cancer. The Wheel of Fortune, we also have to face a fear. We have this snake right here. I always say snakes are guardians of portals. Snakes represent fears. We usually have to face some sort of fear, and if we don't have something that we want, it might be because of fear. So just another kind of little bit of a clue that you could be facing a fear at this time. You have the Three of Swords. Three of Swords is about forgiveness, letting go of the past. Usually, sure, Three of Swords can be a heartbreak, but really, I always say that those Three Swords are already in your heart. That's the whole point of the card. And so the easiest thing to do is to practice forgiveness with the Three of Swords, because then we remove those swords from our heart and we can heal, obviously. And so it would be a good time. You have that card that says bring love into the situation. That doesn't have to be romantic love, but with the Empress, that could be loving yourself enough to, take a leap of faith, because you have the Fool showing up right next to her here. Sometimes I think when we don't do something that we want to do, we aren't loving ourselves. Like if you want to build a business, or you want to move, or, whatever you want to do, whatever your goal is. And, doing it or trying is an act of self-love. So that could be another solution that is popping up here with the Three of Swords, or just this whole reading in general. You have the Emperor here. It's I feel good about the Emperor. Sure, you could be attracting an Emperor and Empress into your life. I do get a little bit of control here, just intuitively, if you're trying to control a situation. We are kind of in a weird time where I feel that where if we are trying to control something, it's probably not going to work, right? If you're trying to force a business to work or force a relationship to work, it's probably not going to work. But if you just allow it to work, then it will. And I know that sounds the same, but it's a little bit different. I would also be open to opportunity. I always say, he's sitting here, he has his armor on, and him having his armor on underneath his cloak says he's right now, he's just chilling, relaxing on his throne. He's not really doing anything. But when an opportunity presents itself, he's going to take it. So we have to be prepared for good opportunities with the Emperor. And that is also popping into my head for sure. With the Wheel of Fortune, you have the Eight of Cups. Yeah, it could be the fear of the unknown, really. The Eight of Cups, he has no clue what he is walking towards. We have these 8 cups behind him. He's just decided that he's not going to settle for less than he deserves. And he has no clue if he's ever going to get what he wants in life. And, again, some people say he's walking towards the 9 of Cups. And, that could be true, but he doesn't know that. He's not sure what he's going to work towards or what he is working towards at this moment. So a lot of you, this could be the fear of the unknown. If I start that business, or if I talk to that person, or if I do that thing, what is going to happen on the other side? And you guess what? There is no answer. Sometimes we're not meant to know what is going to happen. We have to find out. And I'm pretty sure this has come up for you before, Cancer, where it's like your readings really want you to go on the adventure. With the Three of Swords, you have the Three of Pentacles. Yeah, Three of Pentacles says like teamwork makes a dream work. But the interesting thing here is this lady right here has these polka dots on her cloak. And the polka dots in the tarot represent sometimes taking things too seriously. So the polka dots really represent needing to not take things too seriously. So they can come up when we are taking something too seriously, or when we are putting too much pressure on success, or whatever the case may be. So I do feel the Three of Pentacles is kind of like a little bit asking you to lighten up the energy a little bit and not need something to work. And I know that's weird, but that's the feeling I basically get on your first row. With the Emperor, you have the Judgment card. Yeah, Judgment can be like a wake-up call. I kind of feel like a sudden pull here is the best way I can describe it. I feel like there's like a little bit of a magnetic energy going on with this Judgment card where you're feeling pulled towards something. It's like, I don't know, I think sometimes we can think about something for a very long period of time. We can, like think of an idea, we can think of a plan or something to do with our life, and, it just takes us a little bit of time to get started. But also I think sometimes we can, wake up one day and we could be like, oh my God, I'm running out of time. I need to get moving. And I do get a little bit of that feeling for some reason on the Judgment card. And the Judgment card, these people are standing in these coffins. The coffin is their old life. Outside the coffin is their new life. And, the interesting thing that's popping into my head for you, Cancer, is that, like, I feel like some people around you are not moving. It's like, sometimes I think, if like we're in a situation where the writing is on the wall, if we're in a job and it's not going well and we can tell that maybe the business is falling apart or something, it's like, do you really need to wait for other people to leave, or can you just go? I don't even think this is necessarily a bad thing. You might see an opportunity and like no one around you is doing something. It's almost like this card is saying, don't be a sheep, be a lion. Kind of, if you feel that something needs to change or you need to do something new in your life, don't wait for others to lead the way, especially with the Emperor. I feel it's saying, it's time for you to be the leader. We even go up to the Fool. And so, I always say with the Fool that the risk with the Fool is being called foolish. So, sometimes we have to take that risk. We have to take a leap of faith away from something that other people are sticking to because we know better, right? Next, in the area of what's coming in for you, you have this carpet. It says advantages, keen-mindedness, and longevity. You have this unicorn. It says divine purity, rarity, and sovereignty. You could be getting like a rare opportunity this week. And, this card says keen-mindedness. So you might have certain insights that other people don't. I don't know, I get such a weird feeling about the Judgment card when you're reading, like in a good way. This is good weird here, Cancer. It's like weird in the sense that, you see something other people don't this week. This definitely looks like an opportunity to me. And it's like an opportunity for change, or an opportunity to, take some sort of leap of faith. And I do feel it's like a rare opportunity. You have the Empress, the Six of Pentacles, and the Ten of Wands. Yeah, Empress is like abundance. Water signs are definitely going to be focused on creating abundance into the future and, doing things to create more abundance. Sorry, I'm choking now. And so, again, you could be doing things to create more abundance in your life. Sorry, Cancer, I needed some water. But you have the Empress, like I said, talking about abundance. This right here, you have the Six of Pentacles next, and the Six of Pentacles is about planting seeds. She has this wheat growing in front of her, so I feel you have the opportunity to create a lot of abundance this week, and probably by taking a leap of faith on an opportunity. Next, you have the Six of Pentacles. I do feel we have to be very picky right now on like what we give our energy to. This pretty much started coming up a lot in 2025, the Six of Pentacles. I have a feeling that this will probably continue for the next few years, where we really have to pay attention what's working for us, what's not working, including with people, right? If we're giving a person energy, he's giving to this person, not this person. So he's giving to the people that give back to him. And, again, I just get some of that, like, pickiness with your energy, and I feel it would be a good thing to pay attention to. With the Empress, it would be about doing what's, easier. I always say that, life isn't meant to be easy, but she tries to make her life easier with the Empress. And like I said, life will never be perfect, but we can definitely make it better. And I would encourage you to look for ways to do that with this card, because you also have the Ten of Wands. Ten of Wands is kind of like doing things the hard way, right? It's not really a bad card. He planted those wands, that harvest, and he's almost at his home. So he's about to have a harvest. But at the same time, he might be doing it in a way that is harder, or, maybe he could get a cart to carry his wands instead of like carrying them on his back, right? There is a way that he could probably make this whole thing more efficient. The other thing is like he's so distracted and busy with what he's doing, he can't see in front of his face. Those wands cover up his face. And sometimes with the Ten of Wands, we can start taking on too many burdens. We can start taking on obligations or responsibilities of other people. So with the Ten of Wands, sometimes I think we have to pause. We have to look at everything we're doing, and we have to make sure that what we're working on or what we're creating is, number one, for us. Number two, the Empress puts herself first. And number two, we have to make sure we're not like picking up extra responsibilities that don't belong to us. So I think this week would be a good week for you to focus on being efficient and not carrying too many burdens from other people. With the Empress, you have the Six of Wands, which is, number one, a lot of attention with the Empress and the Six of Wands. The Six of Wands, also victory or big success coming in for you. It can also represent jealousy. We have this person on the Six of Wands right here that is meant to look jealous. And with the Empress, this would kind of be like good jealousy. It's like you could find that people are jealous of you this week for a good reason. Maybe you're creating a bunch of success, or maybe you're having a victory. But great time to stand out. With the Six of Pentacles, you have the King of Pentacles. We have the King and Queen of Pentacles here. These two work very well together. I think you always get these two with me. And for like love, Cancer, you're like the only sign that gets both all the time. So with the Knight of Cups, could be love. But I also kind of feel this is just talking about work in general. The King of Pentacles, he has the skills to be very successful. The Queen of Pentacles is focused on resourcefulness, which is exactly what we've been talking about this whole time. The King of Pentacles, sometimes maybe he just works just to work, right? The Queen of Pentacles, she is making sure that the work she's doing is multiplying. She's the card of multiplication. And so the thing she does produces more of a result. 10 of Wands is one set result. It is like those 10 wands. The Queen of Pentacles, she might focus on doing something where maybe she, instead of only being able to get to that home with 10 wands once, she would come up with a way to be able to do it like 3 times in the amount of times it takes him to do it once, right? So that's what we're talking about efficiency. Like I said, it's almost like you need a cart for your 10 wands. You need something to carry it. There you go. With the 10 of Wands, you have the Strength card. Yeah, you've built the strength necessary to be very successful. The Strength card is kind of like your inner strength. She is taming her inner voice, and she's taking control of this lion here. And so I feel for a lot of you that, this is about believing that you can do something. Sometimes, like if we're setting something up, it's like maybe you've had to do things the hard way because, you had to get started somewhere. But I feel now, like especially if you're working on projects, businesses, ideas, now you have built the strength necessary. It's like you learned how to do it the hard way. Now it's time to, figure out how to be efficient, right? Next, in the area of messages from your future self, you have this first house that says arrival. You have this Mercury card that says messages. There definitely could be some news or messages coming in for you. I'm pretty sure your past several readings have talked about you kind of getting answers here, Cancer, or you getting like information on what you need to do with your life or where you need to go or whatever. We have Mercury going retrograde next month. We're in the shadow, like I said, this week. So, again, I think Mercury retrograde gets a bad rap in the astrology. It can be a good thing. It can, bring us answers that we've been looking for from the past, right? So there definitely could be some information that you should pay attention to. You have the Fool, the Queen of Pentacles, and the Knight of Cups. I really feel as a Fool is attached to that Judgment card for whatever reason. It's like you are pulling away from something that everybody is sticking to or something. I don't know. That's the message I was getting on the Judgment card. It's like it could be a job. It could be where you live. It could be, something you belong to, whatever. It doesn't really matter. But I feel like you're right, and you're probably going to be the leader, whether you realize it or not here, Cancer. It's like if you're waiting for people to do something, maybe you need to be the first, or maybe you need to be the one that like speaks up, or whatever the case may be. The Fool really says you're over prepared for something. He has this little sack on his back, and he's about to go through the whole entire major arcana. And so it says he has everything he needs right here, right between his 2 ears for this big long journey. And, sometimes I feel the Fool does say you are over prepared for something. Is this a big deal in your reading? No. I just think that if you're going to be making a change or doing something new in your life, that you're going to do it and you're going to be like, oh, I could have done this sooner. So I don't know if that helps or not, but if you're like waiting to get started on something, I feel like this is saying you might as well start now, because, it doesn't matter if you wait until like the beginning of the year or something, probably not. But you could get started now. I think I'm just peeking into the future for you here, Cancer. It's like your future self is saying like, oh, I could have started earlier. So, I think the time is now. You have the Queen of Pentacles. Again, very good with that King of Pentacles. Like I said, she has this rabbit right here. The rabbit can represent fears, can represent fertility as well, but it can also represent multiplication. And that's what I would be focusing on. It's like if there's something, especially in work or business, but pretty much everything that you do, there are probably things you could do that in the same amount of time it takes you to do it once the hard way, you could probably do it like 3 times, if you became more efficient. And, that's what was popping into my head with that 10 of Wands. You need a cart or you need a truck to drive those 10 wands around. Like, I feel like there is something that is like a truck, not literally, but, figuratively here, Cancer. And that's maybe what you are discovering is like some sort of lever, something that creates leverage in your career, business, work, whatever. And, like I said, without knowing what you do, I can't really say what it is. But, I think if you do a little bit of research, you will probably find it and it'll be worth it. And so, but I do think maybe it requires a little bit of research. You have the 8 of Swords here, which is showing up in the good stuff. And again, the 8 of Swords would be good because it's showing up in the good stuff. But the 8 of Swords can represent only seeing one way of doing things. So again, it's just saying there are probably multiple ways you can do this that would be more efficient. But it is coming up in the good stuff. So I feel like you will figure it out. You have the Knight of Cups. Knight of Cups can be a knight in shining armor. Again, we have the King and Queen of Pentacles, as I say to you like every week now, apparently. Those two are a little bit boring. Like, not bad. I think they're good divine counterparts. They want something permanent. But, there needs to be a little bit something more going on between the two of them. But the Knight of Cups is good. Knight of Cups can also be your dream. And again, if you're working on something new, I feel that it could be attached to your like dream or your dream life. And the Knight of Cups, he just has to plant seeds in front of that water and they will grow. And Empress, 6 of Pentacles, these are both cards of growth and expansion and, creating abundance. With the Fool, you have the 2 of Cups. 2 of Cups could also be love, but 2 of Cups can be you and your higher self. And it's also Mercury, by the way. We have the Staff of Hermes right here. We also have the Caduceus, which is the Staff of Hermes, right here on this Mercury card. So, there could be some communication that you're getting in like your dreams, through sign symbol synchronicities, through daydreams, through random thoughts that pop into your head. I would be paying attention to all that here, Cancer, because I think you're being guided. With the Queen of Pentacles, you have the 4 Swords. 4 Swords can be like resting, relaxing, recovering. It can be hoping and praying. I'm pretty sure for the past couple weeks you've been getting this card, and I've been saying that like answers are coming to you here, Cancer. You might already have the answers and not even realize it. I think, something that I talk about all the time with Uranus and Gemini right now is that we have to really put our thinking caps on, because we are, Uranus and Gemini is good for getting an answer from an unlikely source. So you might have a problem with your business, or you might be maybe not a problem. Maybe you just want it to grow, right? And you could get an answer from like a movie. You could get an answer from your neighbor down the street. It's like the answers you need, they might come from unlikely sources. The thing with that is you have to be able to make the connection. Gemini is really good at sitting on a fence. Gemini has a superpower of being able to mix 2 things together and create something better. So we really have to think right now. We have to kind of think about things people say and, what we hear and what we're watching and all that other stuff. And we have to be able to make those connections. But if you tell your brain that you're looking for those connections, it will make them. So that's what I would do here. With the Knight of Cups, you have the World. The World is like an accomplishment or an achievement, so definitely could be some sort of accomplishment. I would definitely call this a portal reading as well. Wheel of Fortune, plus this card, she's going through a portal. She is like starting something new. Whenever I have the Fool to the World in a reading like very quickly, like this, to me, this can represent something happening very quickly for you as well, Cancer. Again, the Fool goes through the entire major arcana. In the World is the last card, and then we start all over again as the Fool. So for a lot of you, something could be happening very quickly this week as well. Next, in the area of the good stuff, you have this Unrevealed Secrets. It says, what is happening on the surface is not what you'll see if you dive deeper. Connecting the dots, like I was saying. You have this Fleeting Flare Path card. It says, something in your life will be brief, not meant to stay in your life forever. Probably the struggle. I think Cancer is getting off the struggle bus with that 10 of Wands. And, it was only meant to make you stronger for a short period of time. Like I said, I think it's normal when we start something, we kind of do it the hard way. And then over time, hopefully, we're supposed to become more efficient. And, that's what this reading is about. You have the Justice card, the 8 of Swords, and the 5 of Swords. I literally feel you could be getting some justice here. This could be anything, but I feel literal justice on the card. I also feel this is saying, we are in a very neutral time. It's like Uranus and Taurus. Next month, Uranus will retrograde into Taurus. The thing about Uranus and Taurus is I think we can automatically assume, we think that we know how something is going to work. And when we really don't. It's like, even my mother's a Taurus, right? I'll just tell you this story, right? I'll tell things to my mother that I'm doing, and she'll be like, oh, I heard that doesn't work anymore. I'm like, from frickin' who? Did you hear that doesn't work, right? All the time. My Taurus mother. Love her, of course, but she always tells me, oh, like, that doesn't work, and it does. So, again, sometimes I think that Taurus energy can be a little stubborn, right? And so Justice says, don't assume that this, that, or the other thing is going to work. Try it and see what happens. You have the 8 of Swords. 8 of Swords is self-imposed restriction, only seeing one way of doing things. Again, in the good stuff, very good. It basically says that you're opening up to other solutions, which is exactly what this reading needs, especially with that 10 of Wands. And yeah, I really have nothing to add. You have the 5 of Swords. 5 of Swords is taking a risk in the area of the good stuff. So with the Fool, of course, you could be taking some sort of risk or a leap of faith. And, again, usually the risk with the Fool is being called the Fool. With the Justice card, you have the 4 of Cups. Yes, like I said, it's like, yeah, maybe something hasn't worked like 3 times for you before, but you're getting another opportunity to make something work this week, and I feel you should try it. The Justice is very simple. It just wants us to take a neutral approach to something. It wants us to not have like an outcome. It wants us to practice non-attachment. It wants us to just say, like, I'm going to see how this goes. And I think that would be a great attitude for you this week, Cancer, because I don't know, apparently you never know what you could discover. With the 8 of Swords, you have the Empress, again, which is great. The Empress, abundance, success, great card for self-care. Again, she's doing things the easier way, not the hard way, which is what I think she is asking you to do. With the 5 of Swords, you have the Page of Cups here. Definitely could be a love offer. You could be taking the risk on love. Maybe that's what the 4 of Cups is. The 4 of Cups says, like, don't assume that you know how this thing is going to turn out or how it's going to go, and that's what I would focus on there. You have this box card. It says, you will receive a gift. There you go. Love it. Definitely could be the gift of something easier, or, I'm not saying it's easy, but, something more efficient. You have this dog. It says, or dogs. It says, getting together with friends. I'm pretty sure you always get these, like, socializing cards with me, Cancer. I do think for water, there are a lot of benefits in surrounding yourself with more of those connections that really support you, that lift you up. It's kind of like a sensitive time, especially with Neptune retrograde. So like I said, if you have a mother who hates on all your ideas, it's like maybe you need to avoid your mother, right? I'm kidding, of course, Cancer. But, again, if you have people where if you tell them an idea, they always hate on it, don't tell them your ideas. It's like, it's one of those things. You need to make sure that the people that you're surrounding yourself with support you. Even next, you have this cat card. It says a two-faced friend. So maybe it's not a two-faced friend. Maybe there are just certain people that kind of have a way of saying things that makes you not want to do it, whatever it is. So maybe you need to avoid those people and spend more time with the people who like really support your vision. You have this wealth card. Clearly, you are building wealth, Cancer. You have the Empress twice. And I think there's a great opportunity for you to create something that could build a lot more wealth. I would say, again, the whole truck message with the Queen of Pentacles, Ten of Wands, like I feel like there's something about being able to be consistent. Again, the Ten of Wands, like, I don't know, this is how it's popping into my head. I'm just going to say it. It's like I feel like he can only do something once, but it's like I feel could be working on something that you could do over and over and over again, but not the way you're doing it right now, if that makes sense. I don't know. It's like I think you could discover a way to recreate a success multiple times is kind of what this is saying. You have this Cane card, says pay attention to your health. Sure, I think all of, the rest of this month, all of November, we should all probably be paying attention to our health, staying healthy. But this looks really good, Cancer. I do like it. So thank you for being here. Make sure to leave a comment, and definitely enjoy your week.